Crossing accidents are not a new concept. We've all seen videos of trains hitting stuff like cars, trucks, turbine blades, and even planes. Whilst sometimes it isn't the car driver's fault, as cars and trucks can stall on tracks, or trucks can bottom out and get stuck on the crossings, most of the time it's one's impatience that gets the better of them in the end. Most of the time the train comes out on top, being heavier, bigger, and faster. However, this is not always the case. For example, the 1999 Bourbonis derailment, or, in today's case, the 2015 Valhalla collision. On February 3rd, 2015, a woman named Ellen Schaefer Brody was driving a 2011 Mercedes-Benz ML350 SUV in Valhalla, New York. She had taken a detour due to a traffic collision on her original route. She had made a call to her husband, who gave her directions. Behind her was Rick Hope, who was coming home from White Plains. Meanwhile, Long Island Railroad Train 659, consisting of 4 Bombardier M7 units, had left Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan at 5:44 p.m. They would meet at the same crossing soon. Near the crossing, traffic was described as stop and go, and thus Ellen had to stop on the crossing. However, the gates started to lower. Rick backed up to let Ellen back off the crossing. However, she didn't. The train engineer noticed a reflection in distance, and soon realized it was a stalled vehicle. He slammed on the emergency brakes, to no avail. The train slammed into her vehicle, killing her instantly. The car ended up dislodging the third rail that powered the trains. A fire started from the short circuit. The third rail pierced the floor of the first car, and parts of it fell off and rested on the seats. One section even pierced the roof and ended up in the second car. 6 people, including Ellen, were killed. Ellen showed no signs of being sleep-deprived or having self-harming intentions. It was theorized at first Ellen was having trouble figuring out how to use her car. She had just purchased her car recently, and it had an odd transmission. Most cars have a central stick shift to change gears. However, this one had one on the steering column. However, her husband stated she hadn't mentioned any problems with the shifter since she got the car. Another theory, which is currently the ongoing theory, is that she was simply distracted by the gate hitting the rear of her car and the possibility of it being dented. The situation with the third rail was also odd. Third rails on the Long Island Railroad are upside down compared to other third rails, to keep people from being shocked with high voltage and to prevent ice buildup on top, and thus are much safer, but have a wedge on them at crossings, where they cut off, to make it easier for the shoe to make contact with the rail when connecting with them. Third rails were usually constructed in sections, as to break away and not deal additional damage in crossing accidents. However, in this case, the third rail was constructed in such a way in which the structural integrity was increased when being bent upward, as it was doing to be fed into the M7 unit, and hence why sections broke off inside the unit. Afterwards, new standards for third rails were set to have less structural integrity, as to avoid another piercing such as this. In the end, the lead car, having been damaged from the fire and the third rail, was scrapped. The Harlem Line service, of which the train was operating, was suspended between Pleasantville and North White Plains, and many were left with a valuable life lesson. If you get stuck on the tracks, and the gates hit the rear of your car, that should not be your first concern. It should be getting off the tracks.